What's up YouTube, Capital G here, looking at a new boss monster for the Weathery archetype. Weathery are going to be a new archetype that are going to premiere in Spirit Warriors. That's the same set that we're going to get the Magic Bullet monsters and the new 6 Samurai supports. And I've looked at this card already. She is absolutely incredible. As long as the rest of the archetype isn't complete garbage, I definitely think we might have something here. This card has a ton of potential. So I looked at the artwork before I really go into the card and what she actually does. It is gorgeous. I don't know whether it's just blue being like one of my favorite colors, or whether it's all the different colors of the rainbow here. Clearly she's like painting something, but a lot of like the fairy monsters, like the fairy female link monsters, just seem to be visually appealing. Like if you look at Trickstar, Holy Angel, it's so colorful and vibrant, and I'm getting the same type of feeling from this card. So what is her name? What is she all about? Well, I think it's you know what, I'm not gonna mess. I was gonna say RCL, but in fact that is actually it. This is Rainbow Weathery RCL. So this is a new archetype once again. And we're going to assume that this is the boss monster of the archetype because obviously it is Link. She is a Link 3. She is a light fairy type, 2400 attack, and she requires 3 Weathery monsters. So, that pretty much confirms Weathery is going to be an archetype, considering that you can only summon her in this deck, and her cursors point all bottom and, left, right, and then just straight down. Her first effect says, Weathery monsters that this card points to gain this effect, which that's kind of worded kind of weird, but as long as your link cursors or your link points aim in a direction of a Weathery monster, you get this effect. When a card or an effect is activated, you can banish this card, negate that activation, and if you do, destroy it. I saw that and I got hyped as fuck. I was like, okay, so basically you are a walking Infernity barrier. Your opponent activates any card, any effect, anything that you don't want to deal with, any monster effect, any spell, any trap, any card in their hand you just don't feel like dealing with. All you basically do is banish her and you instantly just get to negate that. Now, you do have to have a card, or you have to have a Weathery monster actually linked up to her to get that effect. So it is a little situational. Well, it's situational in the sense that you got to make sure that your opponent doesn't just normal summon and run something over, but having a built-in Infernity barrier into a monster is never ever going to be a bad thing. Look at Cyber Dragon Infinity, and the main reason that that card is good, yeah, it can suck up monsters, but the main reason it's good is because it can stop pretty much anything. And then her second effect is incredible as fucking well, right? Check this out. Having an Infernity barrier built into her was not good enough. They actually upped it up a little bit. Her second effect says, when your opponent would special summon a monster or monsters, you can send this link summon card to the graveyard, negate that special summon, and if you do, destroy that monster or monsters. So this bitch is basically a walking Solemn strike on top of that. If your opponent tries to pendulum summon 3 cards, you basically just tribute her. You get all of that out of there. Your opponent's summon obviously is negated. If your opponent tries to exceed summon, if your opponent tries to throw their own link monster out there, if your opponent just tries to fusion summon, well, like an inherent fusion summon, like a contact or something like that, you can get rid of that as well. Like, how can you have that much power in a boss monster and it be bad? Like, I don't even think it's possible. And then the third effect is what I wanted, because I was like, well, she does banish herself. I was like, please tell me there's some way for her to like come back during the end phase or something like Stardust Dragon, because what is it? I think it's Cosmic Blazar Dragon, the one that banishes itself and then comes back. Her third effect is basically that. It says, once per turn, during the standby phase, if this card was banished to activate the effect of a Weathery card, since the last standby phase, you can special summon this card. So basically, if you activate her Infernity barrier effect and she has to banish herself, during the next standby phase, you can just bring her back because she was used to activate a Weathery card, which, obviously is herself. So I look at those effects and I think, if you have her on the field linked up with another Weathery monster, she's an Infernity barrier with 2400. That's incredibly good. Even if not, she can negate special summons and all type of inherent like cyber dragons and stuff like that. Like, that's obviously good as well. And she comes back during the next standby phase. As long as she was banished from a Weathery effect, she can come back, so you can use her effect over and over and over again. This is a really good boss monster. I was actually hoping that some of the legacy archetypes like 6 Samurai, like I was hoping they would get like a link monster that was this good, but damn, the Weathery archetype is really gonna have to be trash if this card is like, if this card doesn't see any play. I will assume it's not because of RCL. I'll assume because the Weathery archetype is really bad. And even though we don't know anything else about the archetype, the vibe I'm kind of getting, based on the fact that she banishes herself and then kind of comes back off of a banish effect, and it says Weathery cards, I'm gonna assume that this is going to be similar to like Fortune Ladies. You guys remember Fortune Ladies from 5Ds? I know I said that they were from GX before. That was a mistake. But Fortune Ladies kind of revolve around like banishing their cards and then, you know, empowering them depending on how many turns they've been on the field and whatnot. I don't know. I'm thinking that this archetype is going to revolve heavily around like banishing its own cards, because she wouldn't say banished by a Weathery card if she was the only, you know, card that had that effect. So I think it's going to be something that is built into the theme. But what do you guys think? I think that this is definitely a good first step. Whatever you guys think, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already.